somebody named Black Dog. I'm not sure who that is. So hello, Black Dog.
Hi, it's James Myers, actually.
James, hello. Nice to meet you. That's right.
Nice to meet everybody.
Ralph is unknown, so he's not sure who he is tonight, so it's okay.
I think I know who I am.
Oh,
Just
sure
the
you
rest
do.
of you.
Sure you do. All right. So cool. So we're excited to be here, so should be cool. Anthony, if you're talking to us, man, you're still muted.
Oh, I can hear him.
Can you? I can't hear him.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you,
yeah.
loud and clear.
Okay, good. Yeah, welcome to the IEEE Vancouver's Consulting Network webinar. I'm the chair of the group, and I'd like to welcome you all. And I'd like to introduce Jim, who is our past chair of the group, and currently he's helping out as our vice chair. He will be introducing our speaker, Phil. Over to you, Jim.
Okay, thanks very much, Anthony. Welcome to everybody. As Anthony said, about 10 years ago, I was the chair of this consultants network, and I'm happy to be helping to get it going again after the break for COVID. And it's good to see a few familiar faces, and very excited to have our speaker Phil today. Just curious how many of you are already are IEEE members? August. Okay. 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 Maybe is there anyone who isn't an IEEE member? Okay. Well, in case there isn't, I'll just make a quick blurb about the IEEE. So the IEEE is the world's largest professional association dedicated to advancing technological innovation and excellence for the benefit of humanity. IEEE has more than 400,000 members in more than 160 countries and over 14,000 members in Canada. And there has 47 societies and technical councils representing the wide range of IEEE technical interests. And I would say if you are a consultant or want to be a consultant in a technical area related to electronics or software, then you should be an IEEE member and be taking advantage of all the great material that's available. So the Vancouver section currently has about 2,200 active members, including 325 students at various universities and colleges in BC. And IEEE Vancouver is the second oldest section and among the largest in Canada. So, on to our speaker. So I'm going to introduce Phil. Phil Gerbyshak is a dynamic force in the realms of technology, sales, and leadership. He has a solid foundation in computer science. Phil swiftly ascended to pivotal roles, notably as a vice president of information technology in a company before harnessing the power of social media as a sales engineer. His innovative work with SaaS companies provided critical tools to prominent financial institutions in the US and Canada, and showcased his talent for emerging technical solutions with strategic business needs. Phil became vice president of sales training for an $80 million SaaS organization, where he crafted and executed transformative sales training programs across 5 business units. His unique approach, integrating technical expertise with actionable sales strategies, has markedly boosted sales performance and organizational growth. In every aspect of his career, Phil is driven by a passion for empowering people and organizations to excel. His blend of technical savvy, sales acumen, and leadership skills makes him an invaluable speaker and consultant, and he's dedicated to guiding others through the complexities of the digital business landscape. The title of today's presentation is $0 Consultancy with Phil Gerbyshak. Kickstart your consulting journey. Are you ready to dive into the world of consulting without breaking the bank? Do you want to learn how to launch your consulting business with minimal financial investment? Are you curious about how to snag your first clients, use budget-friendly tools, and stay motivated through the ups and downs of starting a consulting business? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are connected to the right meeting. For the answers, I gladly turn this IEEE Vancouver Consultants Network meeting over to our guest, Phil Gergershak. Take it away, Phil.
Hey, thank you so much. It's great to be here. I appreciate that. And with that, $0 Consultancy is the name of the program. Do you see my speaker notes, or do you see the actual full screen real quick?
The full screen,
Yep,
not the
see it.
notes.
Yes, awesome. Sometimes that doesn't work, so I'm glad for that. So the title is $0 Consultancy. The subtitle of my book is how to start your consulting business for $0 or no dollars. My goal tonight is to teach you how to generate your first dollars as a consultant, not how to generate $1 million. Alan Weiss wrote a great book called $1 Million Consulting. It's an awesome book. If you want to generate $1 million, go ahead. But I think we have to start somewhere, which is why I wrote this book. It's also about how to do it for little or no money. There's tools that can help you do this faster, cost you more money, and I'll happily to answer any questions about near the end of the program. Those are not the tools I'm going to share, though. My goal is to help you get started for little or no money. Okay? So with that, who the heck am I? That's a question that I get asked often. I ask myself that some days even. So first of all, my reasons for being are the most important people in my world. That's my daughter, Georgia, my son, Asher, my wife, Stephanie. They're why I exist. They're why I do what I do. They're why I love to speak and love to train, love to do all the different things that I do because of them. Now with that, what have I done? We got a little bit of that in the intro, and I share this because it's going to make a lot of sense as we go here. So I've done tech support, done podcasting, done live streaming, I've done social media, done sales, I've been an AI user, all of that. But what do I do now? This is the question, right? I do keynote speaking, sales, social media training, I do business coaching, AI training, podcasting, and social media training, and I do all of them under the consulting banner. Now, consulting for me is a very broad word. Anything that I do, I view myself as a consultant because I'm not inside the organization, and I have to do it in a way that helps them make money and that they can generate a return on their investment for their dollars. I'm an extra cost. I'm not a built-in cost as most employees are. So as a consultant, I want you to remember that. If you're not helping them make more money or improve their productivity or be faster at what they do, you're probably not going to be consulting with them long. In fact, I have an organization that I was working with them, and just today I found out that their volume was so low that they're going to pause the contract for a couple weeks until their volume gets higher so that I can actually consult on something instead of just 5 or 6 calls a day. So just something to keep in mind. If we're not helping them raise profitability, we're not going to be around long, okay? So with that, let's get started. Getting started is the first thing you have to do as a consultant, right? Just get started. Now with that, the first thing I want you to do, and I actually want you to do this here, friends, is I want you to take an inventory of what you enjoy doing at work. Now, if you're already a consultant, what do you enjoy doing as a consultant? Here's some things that I listed out for you, but we're going to take 2 minutes, just 2 minutes. I want you to write down what you enjoy doing at work. And I'll actually watch the time myself, but it's important to take this inventory. So take 2 minutes. Go ahead and write this down. And this is all stuff that I teach in my book, $0 Consultancy. So I'm giving you really a master class on all stuff at work that is inside my book. So 2 minutes. Go ahead. Awesome. Anthony says managing projects. If you, as you're making this, you're welcome to put in the chat or come off mute. If you put in the chat, I'll call it out. If you come off mute and say it, that's great too. Whatever is good for you. So thank you, Anthony, for going first. Managing projects.
I just want to say,
Yes.
if I can remember it, it was designing codes or it was coding.
Oh, either one. Either
Yeah,
one
like
could
programming.
be important.
Yeah,
Sure.
that's my area, so I enjoy that.
Awesome. I love to hear that. So we've got designing code, coding, right? Programming, mentoring, architecting systems, solving deep technical problems, creative work like design, writing, awesome. Bringing people, idea, and goals together, creating synergy, love that. Helping people solve technical problems, leading people, fantastic. Lots of great stuff there. Now, those are the things that you want to start your consulting business with. Do something you like. Who wants to sign up to do something that they hate? If you're going to do something extra, right? So I encourage you, take a note of that. Find the things that you enjoy and do more of those things, okay? And less of the stuff that you absolutely don't enjoy about your work. That's a great way to start, okay? All right. So with that, right, now let's talk about your goals. Why are you going to do this? Are you trying to replace your job income? Are you trying to create some side money for a one-time project? Maybe you need to, redo your house, or you need to fix your basement, or you need to buy a car, or you had an accident or a medical bill, something like that, or something in the middle, right? Maybe it's just to make a couple extra bucks, save for retirement, whatever that is. But I want to encourage you to write down your goals and make those, just make them reasonable goals, though. Now, if this is your first dollar that you're making, I would encourage you, your first thing that you're going to do is not replace your income. It's not going to do that. Not your first project anyway. So first, start small. Might be a little project, might be, you want to make $100, $1,000, $10,000, whatever that is. I encourage you, go ahead and start with that and write that down next to the things that you're good at, so you know what you're aiming at, what you're aiming for. With that, setting up your business is pretty simple. A lot of people like to make this really hard, but I encourage you, to me, there's two ways you can set up your business. It could be just you, in which case you can incorporate that way, and that's perfectly fine, right? You know the Canadian laws better than I do. If you don't, contact an attorney, or there's probably places online that have that. Or it could be something more if you're going to have a bigger consultancy. Maybe all of you decide that you want to partner together. That's perfectly fine too. So, or it could just be you and a partner, could be you and an assistant, whatever it is, right? But however you want to set up your business, make it as simple as possible, because the more complicated it is, the more difficult it is for you to actually get to do the work that you really love. Nobody in the group said, you know what, I really love paperwork. I really love doing just the business busy work. Now, some people do. I know people that do that. That's awesome if that's what you want to do. But none of you said that. So I just want to encourage you, be as simple as you can and no simpler. If you're more concerned about legality and things like that, then please do consult an attorney. Otherwise, just get started with this. Get started. Okay? With that, get a professional email address. It's important. Maybe one that you haven't used before. I joke, right? BigPhilly50@hotmail.com is not a professional email address. You could certainly use a Gmail address if you want. That's free. If you want to get a Google domain, or you want to sign up a Namecheap or some of the other domain registrars, you can set up your first name at whatever your consulting company is, .com. And I encourage you, your first email address could just be a Gmail address. You don't have to have a .com yet. .coms cost money. They're about $12 to $15 a year. And then an email address with Google or Microsoft Office or Yahoo or some of the other places usually are about $10 to $12 a month. So, but if you want to go free, Start out with a free Gmail address. You can do that perfectly free, and they have a lot of the same tools that you can use as a professional member, but it won't cost you money, and that's nice as you're starting out because you don't want much overhead. None of this again that I'm talking about is going to cost you a lot of money. Most of it's going to be absolutely free. Okay. With that, I want you to take an inventory of who you know. It's really important to do that. I want you to write down some of these things that are on there. Not maybe there's a couple people that pop in your mind right away. I'm going to once again give you 2 minutes. I want you to write these down. The current and former coworkers, just the categories, the buckets, if you will, of these people, any of your friends, any of your university mates, any organizations like this one that you know. This 2,200 members strong, chances are you're going to meet somebody in the organization that does things that you don't like to do, and you're going to do things that they don't like to do. Perhaps you could partner up or you could work together on something. If you have a church you attend, that would be the case. Any online communities and anything else. If anybody has any others that they'd like to share, just shout them out. I'm going to jump out of full screen again, and we'll share these here so that we have them. But we want to gather as many things as we have here, right? So LinkedIn, yeah, LinkedIn's another way. Absolutely. Anybody you're connected to already on LinkedIn? Absolutely. Or anybody that you might want to connect to on LinkedIn. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to start, though, with people that you know on LinkedIn, not people that you don't know. That'll be a way to start, okay? So I'll give you 1 more minute to think about that. Take some notes about what those groups are. If people pop in your head right now, I want to encourage you, those people, write them down. Really important, because those people are going to be top of mind for you.
Yeah, Philip.
Yeah, Jim.
I was just thinking that chambers of commerce,
Mm.
really good way to network and find customers and potentially partners, depending on what you're doing.
I love that. Absolutely. Chambers of commerce are a big hit for people. A lot of them have a lot of members, and a lot of them need help. And if you're a member of the Chamber of Commerce, I would tell you, if you give them a small discount for chamber members and chamber members only, a lot of times you can advertise for free in their newsletters. Or as technical folks, I would encourage you, you might even be able to provide a free article in their newsletters that could help, and then just put a little link to your byline to your website, and you could get customers that way too. That's a great way, Jim. Thank you for bringing that up. Associations are often the same, right? IEEE, you know, if I had an article, I'm sure that Anthony and Jim would probably let me publish it in the newsletter that you guys get. Not promotional, not, hey, here's 17 reasons why you should do business with Phil Gerbachak, but here's one more way that you might find $0 consulting. Hopefully you all would find that valuable, and you would sign up for that and click through and then maybe get some more. So something to think about, okay? Something to think about. Great call. Okay? Any others before we move forward? All right. Okay. So we were joking. Ralph told me before, he said, yeah, I've already done some work for free for people. Well, reach out to those people that you've done work for free, or be willing to do work for free, and just see, hey, is there more work to be done? Is there more that you could do? Now, if you've already done free work for them, I don't encourage you to keep doing free work for them, but see if perhaps they could even give you, again, your first $1, your first $100, your first $1,000. If there's something that you could do, you could help them. And then the people that you would do work for free for, because you like them, because you know that they have a good network, because maybe they're the president of the Chamber of Commerce, perhaps that's a person that you might want to do a little bit of free work for. Again, don't give away everything. Give a sample. If you've been to the grocery store, or you've been to a Costco or Sam's Club or any of those big warehouse stores, you know that they give out free samples. They don't do that because they want to give away free food. They do that because once you get a taste, you're going to want more. So it's the same with your work, especially if you have a full-time job still. This side hustle, if you will, is not going to be something that has to replace your income right away. So you can give a little bit of that away. You can give people a taste of the work that you do, and you can make that work. Now with that, I want to encourage you. We talked about LinkedIn before. Get connected to as many people as you can on LinkedIn. Everybody that's on this webinar today, on this presentation today, I encourage you, make sure that you get connected to everybody here and mention in that connection request that you were on the IEEE event that had $0 consultancy. Now, tonight, people probably remember who you are, right? You participated, we sort of did introductions. They might remember your name. Tomorrow, they'll maybe remember half of you. By the end of the week, they're not going to remember any of you. So remind them, hey, this is how we know each other. This is how we're connected. Now, there's two groups of people on LinkedIn that I find are super valuable. Now, there's other groups, I want to be clear. There's Third and Beyond, but I'm going to talk about two important ones for you. The first is your first degree. Those are the people that you're connected to already. Those are valuable people. But really get connected with them. Try to set up a coffee meeting. Try to have a conversation. I'm going to talk about that in just a sec here. And then the second degree are people that are connected to people that you know. And you can certainly name drop the people that you know, that they know, to see if that's a good connection. If someone mentions to me Anthony Chung, well, I'm going to make sure that I connect with them because I know Anthony. Or someone mentions Jim to me, I'm going to connect to them because of Jim. So that's another way to add your first degree, okay? Now with that, once you find people on LinkedIn, I want you to get reconnected. Now it might be the first time you're connected, but I mean, after that first connection request, a lot of times it's all people do. So what I want to encourage you to do is use LinkedIn to send a message for a coffee meeting. Hey, Jim, it was great seeing you on the IEEE event. Would love to have a cup of virtual coffee with you, talk about what you're working on, and I can share what I'm working on too. Now with that, there's a tool that's free you can use called Calendly. You can also use Google Calendar if you get a Gmail address, or you have Google Suite on there to schedule free time so that you can block that time off, because some people like to use calendaring software. Now, some people don't. If they don't, then offer to play calendar ping pong. Here's how I like to say it. Hey, Jim, here's a link to my calendar. If it's convenient for you, feel free to book time and find the time that works for both of us. If that's not convenient for you, let me know a few times and we can play calendar ping pong. Thanks a lot, Phil. Just real simple like that. And I always give people the out. Some people aren't technically savvy that we think are, and some people are technically savvy that we think aren't. So don't assume. Always just ask them if it works for them, and then offer to play calendar ping pong. Some people call it calendar battleship. Some people say go back and forth. I like to be cute. I like to say calendar ping pong. That works for me, okay? Any questions about that? Okay, not seeing any questions. If you have questions, feel free to stop me, please. This is for you, not for me, okay?
I have a question.
Yes, please.
So what do you talk about when you contact people? Like, it's nice to have coffee, but these are strangers or relative strangers in some cases. Then, like, I don't know, we're engineers. How do you break the ice?
So what do you do? What do you do for a living? What's your job? Tell me about what you're working on. Got a project you love?
I do. We have an electric semi that we bought. We just proved that it's competitive with diesel, like a traditional diesel truck, and we're building a business case to buy 5 more.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
So I'd love to hear about that. Then you tell me about that, and then you ping pong back to me and say, cool. And Phil, what are you working on? And then I tell you a couple things, and hopefully that's somewhat of interest to you. And we only spend 15 or 20 minutes on that. And then the final thing is, hey, now Do you want more projects like that electric semi project?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can find a way to make it into words that they understand that would help them maybe see if someone's working on that. Or you could even say, hey, by the way, I noticed that you're connected with Russell. Hey, would you, and Russell's someone that I've been trying to reach out to. Would you make an introduction to Russell? I'd love to have coffee with him just like I had coffee with you. And you just have a conversation, just back and forth, share a little bit about what's interesting in your world, a little bit about what's interesting in their world, find out a little bit more. Again, I'm not looking for you to spend an hour with these people. That's what's nice about virtual. 20 minutes, 30 minutes isn't enough to go about that. And if you're into sports or you're into other stuff too, I mean, whatever it is, maybe you like to cook, you golf, you're in, you watch football, you watch rugby, you watch, soccer, whatever it is. Maybe I'm a pinball guy, so I love to talk about pinball. That's the thing for me. And if that's the thing for you, and I mentioned, this afternoon before I got on with you guys, I actually went and I played pinball with my son. Well, if you're a pinball person, you're probably like, hey, so what game did you play? And if you're not, you're like, oh, that's really nice. You spent time with your son. That's okay too. So the goal is just to find something of interest that will interest to you first, because passion breeds passion. If you're excited about it, I'm going to get excited about it. And if you're like, well, and I program and it's really boring, and yeah, I'm an engineer, but I really hate it. Well, nobody's going to want to talk to you then. So that's why I said find something that you're interested first, because that's more fun to talk about. And you could even get them talking first. Most people like to talk.
Yeah, it's just I guess the reason for the question is the icebreaker. It's where, how do you start, right? And it's that can feel like a big brick wall, but it doesn't have to be.
Did those help, or do you want to talk a little more?
Absolutely. No, that's totally perfect.
Cool. Good. Other questions? I love that question, by the way. Thank you for asking it. That's really good. What else, gang? All right. Very good. Well, again, if you have more, I'm happy to answer. That's what I'm here for. All right.
Everybody's so quiet.
Yeah, I know, right? It's very interesting. That's okay.
I don't have a question, but I would just add to your comments there that what I found is if I set up a coffee meeting or a initial intro meeting with somebody, usually we have something in common already, and that's why we've connected or why they've agreed to have a meeting with me. And so I haven't found it too hard getting started talking about something, because we kind of have some reason to connect and have a intro meeting.
I think that's a really great point, Russell. Absolutely, right? If
you have nothing in common and you're it's just so hard that you can't get started, then that maybe there was no point in actually meeting. But
that's a really good point. No, a great point. Thank you, Russell. I didn't even think about that. That's right on the money. So thank you. So CK, you had a question, or you raised your hand. You want to come off mute, or you want to drop it in the chat? Or was that a mistake? Not now. Okay, that's okay. Well, if you have it, when we come back, we'll get to you. No problem at all. Okay, we got time for you. All right. So I have something also that we call the magic question that you want to ask, and I'll share my screen again. And you want to make sure that you ask this magic question. The magic question is at the end of every meeting. This is the most important question you can ask, but it's got to be if the meeting goes well. If it goes poorly, don't ask this question. because it can be magically horrible too. And the question is this: who do you know who? Who do you know who? Who do you know who's working in a company that might need some engineering help? Who do you know who might need some consulting help, some coaching? Who do you know who? Now, sometimes you might have to see that with someone in their network. Again, this is why you connect with them first on LinkedIn, so you can see their network, so you can see if whether or not they actually are connected to anybody of interest. And, excuse me, with that, this is why that icebreaker is so important, of finding something that is either in common or of interest to people. I'll give you my 3 I's that you can use to connect with virtually anybody. That's the in common. We talked about that. That could be a person in common. If someone is connected with Anthony, and I connect with them because I'm also connected with Anthony, my first conversation is going to be, so tell me, how do you know Anthony? That's going to be the first thing that we talk about, because that's in common. It could be in common with an interest, could be in common with something that I saw in their profile. So that's the first I. The second I is insight. You know, I noticed that you're an engineer and you're an electrical engineer. And you know what? I've always wondered something about electrical engineering. So that might be where I ask that. Or interesting. Hey, you know, I noticed that your company just did something really cool, and here's what you did. Or were you involved in that project at all? So you got that. And then last is ask them for an insight. Hey, can you tell me a little bit more about something or other that you noticed? So 3 I's. First is in common, second is interested or interesting, and third is insight. Those are the 3 things. Now, this who do you know who is a powerful question. Sometimes they're going to need to get back to you, but sometimes they're going to ask you that they're going to have an answer for this right away. So go ahead and ask this magic question. So write this down. Who do you know who? And then whatever it is that you want to know, whatever it is that you want to ask for. It could be somebody who's interested in electric semis. Could be somebody that's interested in something else. So ask that question. Now with that, as you're getting started, I encourage you to create a logo using Canva, which is free. And if you're design oriented, good for you. You can make one yourself on Canva. In fact, I would tell you the first name of your consulting company is just your name, and then put consulting at the end of it. Really simple. And you could just stylize the text, make it however you like, and that could be your logo. My primary website is still philgerbishak.com. That's still kind of my logo, and now I have my glasses on it, and I've paid to have that done. But you don't have to do that. That's kind of fancy. But if you want to do that, you can use Fiverr, Fiverr. You can use Fiverr, and they will do it for somewhere between $500 and $500, depending on how much you want to spend. I would tell you, start with Canva, and then when you start making some money, then go to Fiverr, spend a couple bucks, and then if that's awesome, find a good graphic design buddy, or find someone online that you can trust and have them develop a logo for you. But create some sort of logo. Just having a logo, even with your name, consulting, and just a stylized text, is going to make you look more professional and probably get you paid faster, because you're going to look a lot more professional. And the more professional you look, the more you get paid. It's the truth. So, all right. Now with that, you could also use a free tool called Card to put up a one-page website. That one-page website could just have a picture of you, a little bit about you, and then a link to contact you or to schedule time with you. Could be really, really simple. Could be. Now, if you want to get more complicated, I would encourage you to create a Substack. This is my favorite place. This is great. You can create a blog. That's what Substack is built for. A newsletter, sends out emails for free. People sign up, and I believe it's CAN spam compliant, or the Canadian version of that is Castle. Castle. So it should be, I believe it's compliant with that. And then you can also set up a podcast very simply on there, and a paid community. So real quick, does that appeal to anybody? Would you like me to show you that? a little bit more so you can see what that looks like? Or is that something that you don't want to see? Give me a thumbs up if it is. I see one thumbs up. Anybody else? Oh, drop it in the chat. Well, I got one yes, so I'm going to show it. So hang on 1 second. I'm going to pull up Substack. I'm going to show you exactly what that looks like. So hang on just a sec here. So I'm going to go to the writer dashboard. See, sync your podcast, Spotify. It's always trying to help you do things easier with one click. So again, as we look at this, you'll see I have 22 paid subscribers. I make about $700 a year. This is all live stuff, friends. This is no unvarnished, just real truth. $700 isn't going to make my life, but it's going to make a car payment and then some. So that's kind of nice. How many subscribers, how many followers, right? All of this stuff. Let me show you how this works. So here's posts. Here's all the articles that are listed here. If I want to make a new post, I simply click on new post. Audio is a podcast. If I want to make a video, and then don't worry about the other ones for now. So let's say post, title, subtitle, start writing it. Here's what's cool is I'll show you something really cool right now. I'm going to flip what I'm sharing with you. So check this out. I'm going to use ChatGPT and I'm going to say, give me 5 ideas for writing a post about burnout. And here's 5 choices here. To engage my audience, one of my clients is a Chamber of Commerce. So here's 5 ideas for writing for people who are the Chamber of Commerce, right? So this is what they have to say. Makes it really simple. So I could take any one of these and I could blow these up and I could turn them into articles because maybe I'm stuck on ideas, right? Maybe I'm stuck on ideas and I'm not sure what to write. So let's take write article or write number 3. And now it's going to create a blog post even for me. And I could modify this. I could, or if I'm really busy, you're really busy, you could just take it right from here. And just copy and paste it. Though I would tell you, always modify. Always take the time to modify. See what it says, right? But here you go. Here's an article that you can now put right here in your Substack and create an article right there. Russell, you have a question?
Yeah, I'm just curious. This Substack seems a lot like Medium.
Oh,
And
yeah, a little bit. Yep.
Wonder if you've looked at Medium and how they compare and why you chose Substack. You know, I've used Medium just to read things. I've never done any writing on it. But
yeah, great question. It is like Medium. It's completely free. First of all, it lets you publish a podcast, which I really like, and it allows paid subscribers, and they take a percentage of it, and it goes right in my bank account. So for me, all that ease of use certainly makes it really easy for me to use the tool, and that's why I chose it. I just and I found that I got better traction on Substack. Funny enough, I only have, as you saw, let's call it 350 subscribers on Substack, but every one of them opens my message. Every one of them opens my article. I average about 60% on that, which is pretty good. Now, with that, I only average on Medium, I average about 1%. So that was why all those reasons add up to why I use that. Does that make sense?
yeah, thanks.
Sure. Yeah, of course. Great question. Great question. Other questions about Substack or about Medium or any of those? Awesome. All right, let's continue here. Okay, so as I said, these are the 4 big reasons to use Substack for me. There's a blog. When I write an article, it automatically goes out via newsletter. There's also an app that people can use if they don't want to give up their email address, which is fine. But I can export their text, all their email addresses, and I can put them in my other one because it is a legit opt-in. So it has that opt-in information there. There is a podcast component with it, and then I can offer a paid community. Again, a way to make your first dollar consulting without really quote unquote consulting much. Okay? With that, how many of you like to get paid? I know I sure do, right? Getting paid is the best part, if you ask me. So how do we do that? We can create invoices using Wave apps. So I'll show you what that looks like. Again, I'll show you right behind the scenes here exactly what that looks like on mine. So we'll sign in. Where is this? There we go. For some stupid reason, it just did that. So sales, invoices. I can create an invoice right now just for fun here.
Can't see it.
Oh, can't see it, huh? That is helpful. Thank you for telling me. I didn't click the button. My apologies. So here's Wave. We go to the dashboard, and then we go to sales and payments and invoices. It'll allow us to make an invoice really simply. So I'm going to add a customer just for fun here. There's the number. I can say when it's due. I can add an item just for fun. I'm just picking one just there. Save and continue. And now let's look at what that looks like and see. It'll create online payments is on. So it could go right to my bank account if I wanted it to. I can turn that off. You can ACH or offer a credit card. I'm not exactly sure how this works in Canada, but take a look at it. Waveapps.com. This is what it looks like. See, this is why you have a logo, because it'll come through. It's got all my information on it, and this looks like a normal invoice from any corporation. Makes it really simple. Okay? Really, really simple. Okay.
So is that Wave service a paid service?
Nope,
though,
Wave
or
is absolutely free.
Oh,
Yep, Wave is free. So what I like is where it makes money for itself is if people pay via ACH or via credit card, they get about 1% for an ACH and they get about 3% for a credit card.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a cost of doing business. Now that being said, if you're like, well, I don't want to do that, I just want to have people write a check. Well, you can save the PDF and you can send it to them as a PDF, and they'd never know that it was even a service that you had. It would just look professional. But it's free.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Yep, I love free. Free is good for me. So that's my way of thinking anyway. So, all right. All right, let's go back here. Get past Wave apps. Now, this is one of the questions that I get. First, I can't tell you how much to charge, but I can tell you how to charge or different options for charging. First, you can absolutely charge by the hour. That's pretty normal. People like that, or a package of hours. I'd encourage you to send a package of hours. That being said, the faster you get at stuff, the less valuable that is. So have people put you on a retainer. Hey, I'm going to buy a minimum of 100 hours a month, and I'm going to give you $10,000. Okay, that's cool. And then you can decide whether or not to roll over that time or not. That's really up to you. And then the other way is project-based. Project would be, hey, I need you to design me a program, and I need it done in the next 30 days or 60 days or 90 days, and I'm going to pay you $10,000. That's one way to do it as well. There's no right way or wrong way to do this. There's just a way to do it. So don't stress like, oh my gosh, which way should I go? Again, with your first client, ask them what they're comfortable with. find out what they're comfortable with, and understand what you're comfortable with. That's the best way to do it. So, any questions about charging clients?
Do you know any cost-effective ways to charge people just for a phone call?
Oh, a phone call, huh? That's a good question. Huh. I don't know. I would say, you could use Calendly, and if you use the paid version of Calendly, they could then pay before then they get on your calendar. That would be a cost-effective way, and that's like $20 a month. You could use buy me a cup of coffee .com. You could set up that way. You could set up a PayPal link that then once they pay you, you schedule the time. Those are a couple ways, but a phone call is pretty tough. I mean, how long is the call?
Could be anything, 15 minutes to an hour.
Are they only going to do one of those a month, you think, Ralph?
Hard to tell.
Okay.
I briefly looked into 1-900 numbers, and it's like, oh boy, can't do that.
Oh, like that. Yes. Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. So, you know what? Yeah, there are tools that do that. Hold on. So let's see. So, pay for, because what in the? I'll figure that out, Ralph. I have heard of some. I can't. Right now I'm not. I would say if they're getting on your calendar and you know that that's a work thing, I would just get agreement ahead of time and just send them a quick invoice.
Yeah.
That'd be the easiest way, because what I hate doing is I hate it when my clients get surprised, and they don't like to be surprised either. They might pay you once, right? If they're like, okay, well, that phone call was $100. Well, I was expecting to pay $10. Well, tell them ahead of time. This is what it's going to cost for me to spend time with you. And I would bill, at least 30 minutes, probably $100 every 30 minutes. Could be more. I mean, depends on the problem you solve. I mean, that old saw about, that the mechanic goes to the boiler and just dings the boiler and takes him 3 seconds to solve it. And somebody's like, he goes, how much is it? Well, it's $10,000. It's like, well, $10,000 to hit the boiler once. Why is that? It's like, well, because I knew exactly where to hit it. That's why. You're not paying for the 3-second ting. You're paying for the 30 years of knowledge you have. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I hope that helps. Okay. All right. Let's move ahead. Now comes the fun part. You are consulting. You're doing a lot of it. It's your side hustle. It's on the side. You're starting to make some money. How do you avoid burnout and stay motivated? This is something I've spent a lot of time the last couple of years studying for myself and sharing with others, because this is the #1 thing that ends up hitting people, especially smart people like y'all, who are going to end up being very successful at this. And you're like, holy crap, this is so much work. So let me give you a few things that have helped me, and I hope they help you. The first thing is to set realistic goals. What's realistic for me might not be realistic for you, and vice versa. I encourage you, though, to always be realistic in your goals. Don't expect that you're going to hit 100% every time that you do something. Don't expect the first month that you're going to be able to have enough stamina to do this, 100 hours a month. This is a lot of work. Consulting is hard. It is not easy work. It is in addition to what you're already doing, or it could be as a replacement for it. No matter what, though, set realistic goals. It's the same with how you price. Pricing is set based on how much you're trying to make, and then know how much time it's going to take, and be honest with yourself and be honest with your prospects. Not everybody is a great fit. Again, Ralph asked, how do we charge for a phone call? Well, it could be an hour, could be 2 hours, could be, people could talk to you all day. Depends what that is. So be honest with yourself and set realistic goals. Otherwise, you're going to get burned out. Second one is something that's often hard for me, and that is take breaks. I'm thankful because I have an Apple Watch now that reminds me every hour to get off my butt and move. I encourage you, take a break every hour, even if it's just 1 minute. Walk around your desk a couple times, walk your dogs, get out of the house, go get a cup of coffee, do something, but take a break. You cannot get too much time away from your desk and break. So take breaks. With that, I encourage you to keep a gratitude journal. Now, it could be a formal journal, a piece of paper, notebook, could be like that. Or I like to share mine on Facebook. I share 3 things most days that I'm grateful for. Just simple stuff, simple stuff. Today, I'm grateful that I have an event with IEEE. Today, I'm grateful for the fact that I've got cold water next to me so that I can not get parched when I speak. Today, I'm grateful that I've got some new notebooks so that I can write more things down and I can keep track of my notes, like the fact that I wrote down that you guys have 2,200 members. That's amazing to me. Just simple stuff to be grateful for. And then on those crappy days, those days you're feeling burned out, go back and look at those good days. Remember those good days. Remember those good things. They can be small things. I can tell you that they remind me to be grateful for the little things, because sometimes the little things is all I've got, okay? So keep a gratitude journal. With that, create and reach out to your support network. I'm very grateful that I built it myself a good support network before I needed it. I talked to my best friend this morning. I talked to some of my other friends already today. When I need help, I reach out to them. Even when I don't need help, I reach out to them. I catch up. I just talk to them and they're friends and they help me feel better. Now, to create that network is a little bit more difficult, but I encourage you, start in this organization. Maybe there's people just like you that you can create a network with. Maybe you guys have subgroups. I'm not sure exactly how you're set up, but I can tell you that associations are a great way to create a support network. When I used to be a VP of IT, I had 20 people that I would call on a regular basis, asking questions, asking for help, and just venting, trying to figure stuff out and trying to, when things sucked, to talk to them. Many of them I'm still friends with, even though I'm not in IT anymore. So create and reach out to your support network. And last but not least, if you need it, get professional help. I will tell you, I've been in therapy and it is super helpful. Get someone who knows nothing of my work to just reflect back on me of what I'm talking about and what I'm doing. I use BetterHelp.com and it really helped me. Get stuff straight in my head, help me be burned out less, help me blame myself less for the crap that happened in my life. So I encourage you, if you need it, there's no shame at all in getting professional help. Okay? With that, I'm going to open it up for questions here. I just heard a ping. Who's got a question?
Nobody.
Yeah.
No, I wanted to say good for you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
And I've recently got some help as well, and it does make a big difference. And if you want to be good at a sport, like, I don't know, there's still a mental stigma or a social stigma around it, I think, although it's getting better. But when I first considered it, it was it's not an easy thing to do, to go and ask for, especially a stranger's help, right? But because I've got a bit of a sports background, I thought, oh, well, you want to be good at a sport, you get a coach, right? So that's all it is. So anyway, I hit the wrong button, but I meant to give you a thumbs up. So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And proud of you for doing it too. It's not easy, and it is worth it. So thank you. CK, what you got? So popped in the chat. I'm a product developer. I can share some experience as consulting. As an engineer, consulting firm must be with PE designation. Okay. Consulting cannot be a part-time job. Okay? Engineering firms have employment contracts that limit side jobs or second employments. IP and NDA issue. Who owns the IP? Consultant or the company hires a consultant? Yeah, you must incorporate. C to C. What's C to C? CK? Is that consumer to consumer? So perhaps your consulting could be outside of your expertise. I can tell you that much of mine when I started out was. Now, if you can't, are you allowed to coach? Company to company. Okay, thank you. Gotcha. Cool. I can tell you that a lot of I was a VP of IT who often coached in sales and marketing and in things that had nothing to do with my job. I had very similar things there, and I told my boss, I said, hey, people are asking me if I can be their coach, life coach, if I can be their marketing coach, if I can be their sales coach, is that acceptable? And she's like, well, as long as it doesn't interfere with your day job, absolutely. So I got permission to do that. I asked permission. Some people ask for forgiveness. I would say do what feels right for you and make that right. But that's why I said, you notice I said, what do you like to do about your job? Some of that isn't exactly the main focus of your job. If you like leading people, well, chances are you can teach other people how to lead people. So that's another option for you as you're looking at these first things. But I think the fact that you have to have a PE designation and all these other things, if it has to be full time, then you got to look at something outside of that and be outside the box a little bit in order to make your first dollars consulting. Good question, Noel. Good call out. Thank you, CK. Other questions about anything else that I shared? Because I've got a few more things to share.
Yeah, I'll dive in.
Sure.
Where I would like to go more to is mentoring, helping people, giving advice. And that's sort of why I was asking about the phone calls. I've joked with some of my clients about, that they have the phone a friend contract, where they go off and you do your work. When you run into trouble, give me a call. We'll work it out. If it's 15 minutes, an hour, whatever, and then you go back to doing your work. Any ideas on how to sort of differentiate and get those clients that just need you there in the back pocket, as opposed to the ones that want you to show up and work 40 hours a week, grinding out sausage for them?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a retainer client, Ralph. That means that you're there when they need you and they call you and there's no scheduled time. I can tell you, Alan Weiss, I joked about him before. Alan has people that pay him $100,000 a year to be retainer clients, just to be there and phone a friend, as you said, right? Hey, I got a quick question. I don't care if he doesn't care if it takes you 3 seconds or 3 hours. He's available for you. Okay. And that's what he does. So that's absolutely that retainer being there. You make it clear, I've only got 5 spots for this every month, so that they know that you're not overwhelming, right? And that could be an advisor role, that could be a retainer role, anything like that. That could be set up so that once a week you come in and you review their numbers or whatever, review their projects, whatever it is. So that's that's how I would do it.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Yeah. Great question. What else? Okay. All right. Well, I'll keep going then. I've got just a little bit more to share with you. Okay. So, as I mentioned at the beginning, right, just get started. How do we do that? How do you get your first consulting paycheck? You do your first consulting job. Then, hopefully, you did a great job. You earn your first testimonial. That is the key. Once you do this, now the wheels are turning. Now you're doing great. Now you can repeat and replicate this. With that, You can earn your first consulting testimonial. Not just a testimonial that Phil's a great guy, but also this is how he helped me. Really easy. And with that, then you can ask for your first referral. Hey, who do you know that's like you? Are you in an association that has other people like you? Would you be willing to make some introductions for me and say nice things about me to get that first referral? Once you get that first referral, the wheels are turning and you're moving. But then, guess what? You get to do it all over again. This is the fun part, right? It never ends. If you're going to do this, you can do it all over again, over and over and over and over and over again. So hopefully this was helpful for you. As I mentioned, right, there is a book that goes with this program, $0 Consultancy. You can go there quite easily on Amazon. You can just put in the title of the book, or you can go to zdcbook.com. And if I can help you in any way, please connect with me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn.com/in/Phil Gerb, or put in Phil Gerbishak, and that's how you find me. Any last questions before I let you go?
I guess I've got one more.
Yes.
The clients that you talk to them, you get things set up, you sign a contract, you've got everything set up, they use you once,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's all quiet.
Yeah.
How do you go back to them and go, like, would you like to do this again?
Yeah, so you have you kind of have that next coffee meeting, right? You find out what their goals are. Did they achieve their goals or not? You have to find out, right? Is there still value? Did you drive revenue? Did you help them out? And with that, it's okay. Do you have other projects where this might be useful for you? Or maybe they didn't finish yet. So find out, do we need to continue this? Or are you satisfied with the process, with how far you've gotten? And that's the question that I typically will ask. A lot of people, that's why they keep you on a long time. Now, these are not meant to be forever relationships. If they were, they'd hire you as an employee.
Right.
Good question. What else?
So, Phil, I have a question I wanted to ask
Yeah.
you. Maybe not so much about what you've talked about today, but something you mentioned in the book.
Yeah.
And that's, so and I know you have post sort of a newsletter on LinkedIn fairly frequently. I was just curious what your experience has been with putting a newsletter on LinkedIn versus putting a newsletter on
Substack.
Substack or blog posts, and if you get more people signing up through LinkedIn, or what kind of feedback you get.
Great question. So I like LinkedIn and Substack, to your point, right? I use both of them, and I do them for different reasons. Eventually they will merge. Right now they won't, but right now I read about mostly sales and leadership on LinkedIn, and I read about happiness and burnout on my Substack. I think that that the benefit of LinkedIn is that everybody that's in your LinkedIn network can see it. Everybody who's on LinkedIn can see it. So I've got, let's see. Let me see if I can put up. I'll pull up my newsletter. I'll show you exactly that. Because I like to be transparent here. I'm not just talking on my butt. So with that, here's my newsletter. It's on my profile. And I've got, wow, I got 6 new subscribers. That's pretty cool. 85 different editions, 3,400 subscribers. What I like about that is I can see that not all of them are first degree people, right? There are a lot of people that are beyond me, beyond my first degree, which is pretty cool. Those are people that not only are they people in my network, but they're people beyond my network who are signed up. So if I see them, I can send them connection requests, and I can see that. Now, once I do that, unfortunately, LinkedIn does not give me their email address. So what I could do is I can export that data under settings and privacy, and I can export that, and then I can look for them if they have web places online. Now, this is due to Can Spam and Castle, so that you can't just export this. What's the benefit of LinkedIn? Again, I've got on here, I have 14,000 connections. So 14,000 people possibly could be signed up for my newsletter, plus all of LinkedIn, as you saw, second and third degree. On Substack, I've got 300. So 300, 4,000. I think 4,000 is a bigger number. I'm not really a math guy, but I think that's true. So with that, I think I have an opportunity to get a little more reach with my LinkedIn newsletter. But I don't get their email addresses, where I do on Substack. So that's the difference. Great question, though, Jim.
Okay, yeah, thanks very much.
Yeah, absolutely. My pleasure. What else?
Hi, Phil. Maybe I can ask a quick question.
Yes, please.
Do you find there's a difference between consulting for profit and the non-profit sector? How are they different from your experience?
Yeah, they absolutely are. A nonprofit often they'll bring a consultant to solve a problem, and they won't have so much concern on the ROI of that. I wish they did, because nonprofits, if they acted more like for-profits, they'd probably be a lot more successful, to be quite honest with you. But typically, they'll bring you in, you'll do a project, and then you'll be gone. And they probably will only need that as a one-time. Whereas a for-profit company typically could have you longer term. So I find when I work with a nonprofit, it's the mission that gets me fired up more than the money.
Okay. Okay.
Good question, though. Yeah,
That's
really
true.
good question.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, Leslie. Nice hat. Did you have a question, Leslie? You're on mute.
Yeah, I do have a question.
Yes.
And I was cooking, so
Cool. I love food.
I love food too. And I don't like my hair to get in it.
I don't blame you.
So I just sent you a LinkedIn request. Is that okay? Good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love that.
I thought you had a lot of good things to offer, and I like to have a lot of friends.
Awesome. Me too. Me too.
And you can see I like to cook too. So.
Awesome. No, that's great, right? So all those things, we think about that, right? Those are all things that we can use to start a conversation with. If you notice that I like food, right? You notice all those things. Paying attention to other people is really all it's all about. If you have a need, maybe we can work together. If you don't, maybe we can be friends. There's always value, right? So I love that. Thank you, Leslie. And I just accepted. So awesome.
Awesome. Great. Thanks.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Other questions or comments? Is this helpful?
Yeah, I encourage people who haven't spoken up yet, just to, if you don't have a question, just give some feedback to Phil about what he's talked about and whether you enjoyed it or not.
Well, I'll speak up again. I think this is extremely helpful, especially for people who haven't gotten their consulting business started. And I wish I'd had your wisdom when I started my consulting business, and you made it really easy for people to get started. And I think I'll start a consulting business to help introvert engineers, all my friends, get more comfortable with talking to people.
Awesome.
I'm kidding about. I do that.
That's a good idea, though.
I mean,
yeah.
I've done that for years just to help people I know, but but now I talk about engineering leadership and innovation. And
Awesome.
so I've
Love to
passed
hear that.
beyond the introvert engineers needing my help, but happy to help if anybody needs it.
Good. I'm glad. The sales part does not need to be difficult. That's
No.
absolutely true. That's absolutely true. In fact, I would tell you, if you can start a conversation with people, and you can, because I gave you some tips on how to do that, sales does not have to be difficult. And I'm glad it was helpful, Dennis. Thank you.
Mhm.
Russell,
No questions here, but thanks for lots of good tips. I've already been working on my own doing consulting work for the last couple of years, so I'm pretty well set up. But
awesome.
you've mentioned some ideas and some services that I hadn't heard of or thought of, so
Awesome.
it's
I'm glad to hear that.
useful. Thank you.
Good. My pleasure. Thank you. Anyone else? Last call here.
Some very good suggestions, and I like the links to the various different products. And if I manage to transition from what I'm doing now to what I'd like to be doing a little more, it should be very helpful.
Wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. Anything else? Last call. We'll give it to Jim then. Or Leslie.
Well, I just have a comment for Unknown, who said he wanted to transfer from what he's doing now to something he'd like to do a little more. And that my advice is, don't cut off your current income stream, but build up a side income stream until that's adequate to meet your needs. And then you can cut your ties with whatever it is you're doing now.
Great advice. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah, very true. I agree. And when I started my consulting business, I just went to my current employer and I said, I don't want to work with you full time anymore. How about we do part time and I'll do my own stuff in my other part of my time? And crazily enough, they said yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. So it's worth asking for sure.
Absolutely.
That's actually the majority of what I'm doing now. I've got sort of the all-you-can-eat contract with my former employer and a handful of other clients on the side.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, worked well for me. Okay, one last opportunity to comment or ask a question. Okay, well, I want to thank Phil very much for his time and giving us all some ideas about how we can maybe improve or start a consulting business. And I think there's definitely been some great content there. I hope you all agree. And thank you for participating in this Consultants Network meeting. I think I'll talk with Anthony, but we want to have another one either on Zoom or in person later this year. I would guess it's probably going to be after the summer at this point. But yeah. Hopefully you'll all join us again.
Thank you.
Yeah. Other than that, again, thanks, Phil. I really enjoyed it, and I think everyone else did. So great.
Thank
All right.
you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
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 Everyone.
Jim?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I'll talk to you separately.
Yep.
About the after summer plan.
Yep.
I'm talking to a few people right now. Some are former speakers for the IEEE, and some are not, and some are non-technical.
Okay.
So I'll see what I can come up with. I would try to find a speaker. You've done your job this time already. So thanks a lot for the help. Much appreciated.
Yeah, my pleasure. It was fun.
Yeah. I also separately I've talked to I don't know if you know Mike, who's in charge of the rewards, and they said that they issue plaques for speakers.
Wow.
But I don't know how we're gonna mail it over to Phil for that. So I'm gonna double check with him about a certificate of thank you.
Right.
So and see whether we can mail it over, email it over, perhaps even to Phil about that. Okay, I'll talk to you later about that.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right,
Okay.
then. Thanks a lot.
Bye. Right.
Bye.